In what ways does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? Our film is conventional to real media products in many ways. One of these is the featured non-diegetic music, which is very dark, mysterious, and adds to a number of ambient noises throughout the film. It's really similar to the theme music of TV show American Horror Story Murder House, or the film Seven, in that it contains unnerving sound effects and has a steady, menacing beat. However, it challenges other conventional musical choices for thriller films, as it is very different from the likes of True Detective and the music in the opening credits of Fargo Season 2, Episode 3. This is because it doesn't have any lyrics and is parallel rather than contrapuntal. I think the music works really well in Unknown, as its parallel nature and mysterious sound effects add to the overall underlying tension and suspense that is key to the genre. Unknown has further similarities to real media products as it contains conventional settings and locations. The first setting in the film, the mansion in which the hitman lives with his wife, is somewhat conventional of a real thriller film, as the size of the building depicts the character's surprisingly large amount of wealth, which connotes his dangerous and sinister job. The imposing size of the building is something present in other thriller films too, for example Pulp Fiction at the home of Mia Wallace, or the classic hotel in The Shining, and many of the large homes, hotels and buildings in James Bond. Another factor of our setting that adheres to conventions of thriller films is the settling fog that is seen on the road, which is an example of pathetic fallacy often present in real media products. These conventions were a good choice for our film, as they adhere to the audience's expectations and create a thrilling yet familiar atmosphere. Furthermore, the location itself is a home in the countryside of Castle Hedingham. Its quiet and secluded nature is again conventional to media products of the thriller genre that are already in existence, such as Fargo, which is set in the countryside of Minnesota, or The Shining, set in an isolated mountain range. Overall, the setting and location adhere to conventions of thriller films, with its affluent, secluded and mysterious atmosphere. The camera shots we used when creating Unknown are also somewhat conventional to real thriller products, as several of them are shots that are used in iconic thriller films and create huge amounts of suspense. An example of a really conventional shot that we used is the tracking shot. The scene in our film as the hitman Edward is walking down a long corridor of his house to the kitchen is the example of this. The tracking shot, along with the fact that it is edited to be a very long take, reflects and was inspired by the iconic long tracking shot in The Shining, in which the young boy is followed from behind while pedaling around the hotel. The tracking shot is extremely useful in creating tension and suspense while staying conventional with real media products. Another shot that we used when creating Unknown is the extreme close-up, which is again popular in real thriller products, shown in the likes of American Horror Story and The Purge. The extreme close-up is significantly effective in our film, as it is sudden and abrupt after Edward has had a vision of the blood on his hands, which adds to the mystery and confusion surrounding his vision. Furthermore, the camera angles we used are also conventional to existing thriller films, as we shot the villain from a low angle, especially in the scene where he descends the first part of the stairs, which portrays both his physical, brutal power, but also his class and status over the audience. Finally, we used a point-of-view shot, or POV, from the view of the killer in the scene where he murders the female character. Whilst the point-of-view shot is another extremely conventional camera shot, seen in the likes of Cloverfield and Split, it is also undoubtedly a great choice for our film, as it creates a real sense of fear and foreboding. In terms of mise-en-scène, Unknown is partially conventional to real media products, beginning with the costume of the villain character Edward. The shirt, blazer and smart trousers not only connote the character's mysterious wealth, but also replicates the authentic hitman look, mimicking the likes of James Bond, Goodfellas, Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. Furthermore, our film maintains its conventional mise-en-scène style in the featured lighting, which, whilst inside the house, is often low-key and dull. This is common in existing films of the thriller genre, as it creates a foreboding and ominous atmosphere. It is especially notable in our film, in the scene where the killer brings the knife down to murder the female. He is in almost complete shadow as he is lit from behind, and this demonstrates the darkness, mystery and power surrounding the character. In addition, the key props used in Unknown were incredibly conventional to real media products, in particular the knife used as a murder weapon, the fake blood and the Maserati car used as the hitman's transport. The knife is a weapon that has been used for decades in thriller films, seen in films like Hitchcock's Psycho, and so therefore is significantly conventional to a real media product. Moreover, the stylish Maserati in which Edward travels to the crime scene is extremely conventional to real thriller films, the same brand of car featuring in Bond film Licence to Kill. This prop not only showcases Edward's wealth, but also adheres to codes and conventions, making our film realistic and effective. However, our mise-en-scène is also slightly unconventional, particularly in the costume of Edward, as along with his conventional suit and blazer, he is wearing a pair of trainers, rather than the smarter shoes you would expect from a character of this type. We chose these trainers to imply his youth and careless attitude towards life. Finally, the character choices in our film are both conventional and unconventional. The characters' genders in Unknown adhere to real media products, as the female is the victim, weaker and powerless, and the male is the villain with all the power and strength. This connotes social stereotypes of masculinity and males having power over women, as well as reflecting classic existing thriller films like Psycho and the newly released Split. However, our hitman character challenges conventions of the classic male killer, as in media products such as Leon the Professional or Reservoir Dogs, the killers are much older than our youthful mid-20s character. This gives our film an exciting difference and uniqueness over real thriller films.